Hello and welcome to my channel In Search of Wonder. My name is Anne and these are my April reading plans. I don't even know yet what I'm going to read. We're literally going to find out together right here, right now. Okay, I guess literally isn't quite the right word because this is hardly live, but you know what I mean. Normally, I plan my TBR ahead of time and then I just tell you what I've already figured out because it does take me a little bit to figure out and sort through things and sort through all of my priorities, etc. But I am a little bit crunched for time right now. I have about 20 minutes and either I could make my TBR or I could film my TBR. And I thought, well, why don't I do it at the same time and see if that works? Let's see how I do. First of all, I have already written out all of the prompts of things that I need to choose for the month of April. And I already have one, possibly two options figured out for my Reading the Classics challenge prompt in April, which I shared a video about that last week. So that's where I can start because that is check and done. That is Reading the Classics Challenge. The prompt is of the people, by the people, for the people. And the idea is to read a memoir or biography. And of course it has to be a classic. So I have chosen 12 Years a Slave by Solomon Northup. And I am very excited to get this in April. I kind of was intending to read it in April for People April when I picked it up last year, used somewhere, I'm not exactly sure where. So I'm really excited to read that one. That is a definite, and that will fit that prompt. That also works perfectly well with, as I mentioned, People April, which is hosted by Skylar Dandling about the books and Hannah's books and Bookish Texan. And the idea is just to read biographies, memoirs, anything written by or about real people. And they have some fantastic prompts that are based on quotes. This one I feel like works with two of the quotes. The first one is, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles by Sun Tzu. And I feel like that works well because this takes place during wartime. And also the Solomon Northup is a slave, so he has enemies, etc. And then the other quote that I think it matches is, drawing myself for others, I have drawn myself with pure and better colors by Michel de Montaigne. And so I think that because this is an autobiography, it fits that quote. The other quote is a longer quote, and it is about bookish sort of things, about books and stories and how people write those. So I have a thought about that. That is a secondary one that I may read or may not. If I don't get to it, that's okay. I'll save it for August. And that is Laura by Donald Zochert, which is about Laura Ingalls Wilder. So I have People April covered. I have my Reading the Classics challenge covered. Now I have my other annual challenges that I need to pick books for, and that's it. So we are doing well. The Journey Through Time challenge with Alma is to read historical fiction, and the April prompt is at sea. Now, what can I choose from? Behind me, I have all of my fiction, which is all genres. These are my TBR shelves behind me. I have some classic TBRs up there on that shelf, and I have a nonfiction TBR over here to my right. So I need to pick something from those, but I need to specifically pick historical fiction because that is the prompt. If I don't find anything on these, I do have books that I have kind of favorited on my Hoopla app that I can choose from, or that I have downloaded on my Kindle. I can also choose from those. Let's see what we've got in historical fiction. Anything related to the sea. I'm not seeing anything so far that mentions sea. The Scent of Water. Does that have anything to do with the sea? No, doesn't seem to have anything to do with the sea. Okay. Now this one, oh, she's like by a lake or something. No, I don't think so. No, I'm not seeing anything sea-ish. Oh, When We Were Young and Brave. That's about China. Behind there I have some other books, but I don't think, let's see, A Countess from Moscow. No, I don't think so. Okay, running into a dead end here. Let's see, how about on this shelf? I don't think so. Doesn't seem to fit any of those. Let's see. The Last Year of the War, Unbroken. There's one that might work, but that's not historical fiction. That's, oh goodness. Desired Haven, Ever After, Agatha Christie, Bronte, Let It Path, The Indigo Girl. Let's see. I need to change hands here. No. Yikes, this is a tricky one. Ooh, Indigo Isle. Hold on a second. The Secret Keeper. English Countryside. No. Okay. Indigo Isle, maybe? I don't think it's historic, though. South Carolina. Searching Off the Coast of Charleston. Yeah, it's not historic, though. Okay, I'm going to come back to that prompt. I'm going to look at my Kindle and see. We'll circle back. Let's go to the next one because I don't have a lot of time. The Christian Fiction Bingo by Jeanette at Jane Reads. We have two prompts, a healthcare worker and a favorite genre. And so I was sort of thinking that historical fiction might be a good one for that because I do love historical fiction. And this one has to be Christian fiction specifically. So let me see what I've got. Okay, these are my self-destruct, which I have not read any of them yet this year, and it's not looking like I'm going to get to them this month either because I don't see anything there about healthcare workers. I'm hoping to combine this prompt. So let's see. I know, but it's not Christian fiction. That one is definitely one that I want to read. For sure, but it's not Christian fiction, so that won't work. Okay, I don't think that has anything to do with a healthcare worker. Nope, don't think that has anything to do with a healthcare worker. No. Looking back there. Okay, this one I do know, or I'm quite sure that I have options on my Hoopla and Kindle because I've seen them. And if any of you notice that any of these do fit the prompt, let me know. But I don't think so. These maybe, but they're not the first in the series, so I don't think, if I remember correctly. Yeah, striking out here, guys. Striking out completely. Okay, I'm gonna have to grab my Kindle for that one. This is not working out very well. This is why I don't do this. But anyways, the final one that I'm hoping to get something on my shelf, because this is for the Read Your Bookshelf Challenge, and that is the title contains a conjunction. So the books that I have here so far already on my list don't have that. And this one can be any genre. So I can look in my nonfiction and my fiction. I can look everywhere for this one. So let's hit the stacks again and see what we can find. Okay, for the third time, we are looking at these shelves. What are we looking for? We're looking for a conjunction. And, or, right? What are other conjunctions? Like, but, right? Is that one? Oh, here we go. When we were young and brave. That's a possibility. Okay. What about here? Last Year of the War. Saturday night or after. The Rose and the Thistle. This is an option if I don't get to it in March. We're in the middle of March right now as I'm filming, so I'm hoping to get to it, but that's an option. Okay, so for the Read Your Bookshelf Challenge, I have two options. The Rose and the Thistle if I don't get to it in March, which I may or may not. We'll see. We have a couple weeks left. And then When We Were Young and Brave by Hazel Gaynor. Now, Alma had mentioned, I think it was Alma, right? Was it you, Alma? Had mentioned having this and wanting to read it. If I end up reading this in April, and if you would like to buddy read it with me, Alma, let me know. I'm doing this on the fly, so unprepared, just throwing that out there. And now, let me look on my Hoopla very quickly and see what are some of the books I have favorited that might fit these prompts. In particular, the healthcare worker historical fiction, because I'm quite sure that I have something like that on here. Scroll. Oh my word, of course, now I cannot find it. It's funny, I had like two. I can picture the covers of them, but I'm not seeing it. Well, here's this one, but I don't know that it's Christian fiction. No. That was one of them. So it's not Christian fiction, so that won't work. I do have a novella by Karen Witemeyer, Love on the Mend, and it is about a female, a doctor, but the girl is carrying a medical bag, so, she's a nurse. Okay, so that's a novella. That would definitely work. It's not what I was thinking of. The one I was thinking of is not going to work because it's not Christian fiction. But I had one I could have sworn was Christian fiction, and it was a female doctor or, some kind of nurse on the cover. And I was thinking that it would work for that prompt, but I'm not seeing it. So I might do a little bit more research and find a different one, but that one by Karen Witemeyer will be good, and it's a novella, so that's easy. And if I read a novella, I don't know, is there a page minimum for that reading challenge? I actually don't know. Okay, just scanning through my Kindle library real quick, just to see if anything jumps out at me as being possible for this challenge. So many books on my Kindle, so many books. All right, nothing is jumping out at me, so we'll go with that one. The Karen Witemeyer one for now. And then the last thing I need is at sea. Historical fiction at sea. Do I have anything while I'm on my Kindle? There's a romance novel, Unrequited by Martha Keyes. She's looking out at the ocean. She's on the shore. That's an option. I usually save those for mood reads rather than putting them on my actual TBR. But, it can work. So far, it's the only thing I've got. And one more thing, I'll just look at my Hoopla real quick and see if I have anything, because then I need to go. I may also need to do a little bit of research because I'm just going off of covers. And if I happen to know anything of the story, some of these may apply, and I just don't know that. I'm just not taking the time to click. Oh, here we go. Ooh, yes, perfect. Found it. Between the Sound and Sea. I think that's historic, right? Oh, shoot, it might not be. Is it dual timeline? No, it's contemporary. Man, I thought I had the perfect one. I do want to read that one. Maybe I will read it. But it doesn't fit for that prompt because it's not historical fiction. Bummer. Yesterday's Tides by Roseanna M. White. Okay, that would work. Yesterday's Tides by Tides. That works, right? I don't know if it's actually at sea or not. Don't know anything about it, but it mentions tides, so that's gotta work, right? Okay, so that is definitely an option. Yesterday's Tides by Roseanna M. White. Okay, this was tricky, but that's what I've got so far. I've got Yesterday's Tides by Roseanna M. White, the novella by Karen M. Witemeyer, which I forget the name at the moment, both of those on my Kindle, When We Were Young and Brave by Hazel Gaynor, or The Rose and the Thistle by Laura Frantz, or both, 12 Years a Slave by Solomon Northup, and potentially also Laura by Donald Zochert. There we go. My April TBR. It's going to be pretty easy this time, actually. It's nice not to feel overloaded and leave a lot of room for mood reading. Let me know what you're going to read and what challenges you're participating in April. And if you have any recommendations for me based on what you saw on my shelves as I was perusing, let me know, because I may have missed something because I was in a hurry. All right. I'll chat with you next time. Bye. Hello. I have a quick addendum to this video. So I did do some research, and also I watched the recommendation videos from both Jeanette and Alma for their reading challenges and their April prompts. And I was able to find a couple of things, and I've figured out where I can get them from my library. So on Hoopla, actually what I did was I went to my Goodreads TBR and was looking to see if I had anything applicable on there. And then I was like, okay, these are already on my TBR as wanting to read, even if I don't have actual copies of them. So I feel like I'm accomplishing a goal when I do that. So one of those was These Healing Hills by Anne Gabhart, who is an author. I've only read a couple books by her, but I really have loved her writing, and she's an author I want to read more of. I just haven't yet. So that's really perfect. And I can get that on Hoopla from my library. So that is for the healthcare worker for Jeanette's Christian fiction bingo. And the other one was a historical fiction set at sea. And I was reminded in Alma's video about it being the anniversary of Titanic, the sinking of the Titanic. And there were a couple of Titanic-related books that have been on my radar, my TBR, for a long time, and I just haven't read them yet. One is by Hazel Gaynor, and I can get a physical copy of that from my library. What was that one called? That one was called The Girl Who Came Home, a novel of the Titanic. So the Hazel Gaynor actually has several that would qualify for this prompt, but that in particular is one that I was aware of and had already wanted to read. And then the other one was A Brilliant Night of Stars and Ice by somebody Connolly. And I can get that one on Hoopla, and I've heard a lot of booktubers talking about that and how much they really like that one. Like last year around this time, a lot of people were reading it, so that one I also want to read. So adding those to my April TBR, and in addition, since I filmed my video, such as I was, I saw a couple announcements about readathons happening that I want to participate in. And one is the Read Happy Challenge by M primarily, but she also has some co-hosts that I will list in the description box. And the idea is books that make you happy in different sorts of ways. And she has a bingo card, so I am going to be using that to kind of guide my mood reading. If any of these other books I picked fit for the prompts, I'll put them on there as well. So that one I am looking forward to participating with. I'm going to print out the graphic and put it in my journal. And then also Sarah at Sarah Collier, she has a Spring into Classics challenge, which lasts throughout the spring. So it's not just April. And she has a checklist of several books for you to read through the spring months and check them off. And I believe she's also offering a giveaway, so that's a lot of fun. I will link to that in the description box as well. For that one, I don't have anything specifically in mind for April. There's a classic reread, a classic novel or novella, and I have that right here on my computer. Watch a classic adaptation, read a classic fable or fairy tale, or read a children's classic. So there are a couple classic adaptations that are on my radar that I kind of want to watch. So I will try to get that done in April. And possibly also the fable or fairy tale or the children's classic. We'll see. I don't know any of them. I don't have specific plans for April for any of that, but I'm going to print it out, put it in my reading journal, and over the spring months try and knock out as many of those in the checklist that I can. So that is the conclusion of my April TBR. So thank you for watching. Sorry this was so unorganized. Not my usual MO, but you know, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.